do we have here?
My name is Anamelechi David Ebube.
Okay, David, I would like to ask you, right? So how we do this is that I ask you a question, you answer, then you get to ask me back, then I answer, then back and forth. So it'll be a dialogue. First question I would like to ask you is, my question is in stages, all right? Then we'll get to clarify as well. So, what religion would you say you belong to or you believe in?
Definitely Christianity.
Okay, Christianity. So if we were to ask, why are you a Christian?
Okay, I'm a Christian because I wasn't just brought into a Christian home. I've been able to have an encounter by the grace of God with the Holy Spirit, and I've had convictions why I am a Christian. So I'm a Christian because I've been able to have a conviction and then also an encounter that has renewed my mind, and then have made me have a different perspective of what Christianity is, not just as a religion right now, but with the encounter I've had, I've been able to understand that yes, this is where I'm meant to be.
Okay. So just to clarify for those viewing, that you're a Christian because of the encounters you've had, and also the transformation, and also the gift of the Holy Spirit. Right? Okay. So if I'm to ask you now, being a Christian, what are the evidence? If you're to meet someone who is not a Christian, what are the evidence you will point that person to research, to check on, so that person can be sure that Christianity now is the truth, or is authentic, or is true?
Okay.
For instance, are there evidence? Let me actually start with that. Are there evidence for Christianity?
Definitely, there are evidence in being a Christian. The religion itself, Christianity, is not just a name. It's a proof of God's life and God's hand upon your life. I'm going to give an instance with my life. So, in terms of Christianity, I've not just accepted that this is my religion or this is who I am just because I want to, and people are saying they are Christians. I have accepted it because there is a conviction. So whoever is contemplating to be channeling themselves to the religion Christianity or being a Christian, the evidence of you being a Christian, the evidence of me being a Christian is that God has been able to transform my life from who I was to who I am now. There are so many things that has been there, so many challenges that God has seen me through, and then it has given me the conviction that yes, you are in the right place. So for somebody who is still struggling or thinking twice or having double minds, I would say that the person needs to, for you to be able to be a Christian, you need to have a conviction, and then for you to be able to also see the evidence, you have to have a relationship with God. God is, if you know God, then that's Christianity. That's all you need to know about Christianity. So that's the evidence of being a Christian. Okay, yes, sir.
I just clarify. Okay, knowing God, having a relationship with God, and so on and so forth. So that is what you would say. That's the evidence that person needs to look at, right?
Yes.
To know that, right?
Because if you don't have a relationship with him, if you have not been able to know him for whom he is, then you cannot have an encounter to ascertain that this is how Christianity looks like, this is what it is, or this is what it means being a Christian.
Okay, I get your point. So, for the evidence you point to now is like the person has to have an encounter, has to be willing to have that relationship with God, like submit to God. That's the evidence you would point to. Okay. So, what's the question you'd like to ask me? Or you can even return the question if possible.
Okay. I think if I'm to ask a question right now, I would ask, I'll ask you, do you believe that Christianity is just you just knowing God and then bearing the name a Christian or representing the religion Christianity? Or is there more into it? More like, are you just going to say you're a Christian and that by title exactly, or just parade yourself as a Christian and then you are attached to that tag and my religion is Christianity? Or is there any other thing entitled to it or attached to it to progress the mindset of people about what Christianity is all about?
Okay, I would say, if I'm understanding your question now, is Christianity just a tag that we attach ourselves, or is it something we submit to? Or also, okay, just on clarifying your question. So, no, Christianity is not just a title. Yes, it's a title, yes, but it's much more than that. It's Christianity. From the word Christianity now is Christ followers. We understand that to mean following Christ now, right? That's what the word Christians comes from. So to be a Christian is the one who follows Christ. The one who follows Christ is the one who obeys Christ, right? And your obedience is out of love for him. So the more you know Christ, the more you obey him, and the more you love him. Right? The more you love him, you obey him. Okay, like Jesus says, if you love me, you obey me. Okay, clearly many times in John and many times in the Gospels. If you love me, you obey me. So for you to be a Christian is the one who go by the laws and the commands that have been laid out for us in the New Testament. For instance, we have 27 books that tells a Christian what he can do and what he cannot do. You understand? What he should do and what he should not do. We have 27 books to tell us what Christians are to and what they are to practice. Right? So I don't know if my answer is clear.
That's okay. That's fair enough.
Okay. And can I ask you another question? Do God have a name? God you believe in now. God we believe in. Does he have a name?
Yes, God has a name. I think this question is a personal question because for me, God has names, not just even a name. God has names because to an individual, it depends on how you relate with your God, and it depends on the circumstances around. Sometimes, to me, my God can be my helper. It can be my provider. It can be my sustainer. He can be my helper, my Ebenezer. So it revolves around the circumstances around. Sometimes when you want to ask God for something, let's say you're asking God for financial assistance, and then there's a way you relate with your father that specifies that, okay, in terms of this is what I want, this is who you are to me. So if I'm in need of something, you are my Ebenezer, you are my helper. And then if you are thanking God for what he has done for you, you thank him regarding to what he has done for you, calling him names associated with that which you are asking for. So I feel it's a personal question that everybody has a personal name.
Okay, I get your point. I get your point. We can describe God in so many ways and call God in so many names. But like my question is quite specific. Did God give or ascribe a name to himself, like in scriptures now?
In scriptures,
are you aware that God ascribed a name to himself?
God is God. To me, God is God. Yeah, there are other names.
For instance,
okay, there are other names in the Bible which so the writers of the Bible attached to God as. That's why I said when I said it is personal. I had a reason. I had to look at the Bible when I answered that it is personal too, because some of these persons, even Stephen, even Gideon, these persons had a personal name they referred to God as. So I will always say that the Bible lists.
Can you give examples of those names?
Okay, so that's okay. Okay, let me use an instance of Gideon. So when God came to Gideon, he called him Gibeon, which means a warrior. And then when he was having a relationship with God, he also called God a name, a specific name, and he said he is his helper. So that is who God is to Gideon. That's why I specifically said it's a personal thing that you can personally say this is who God is to me. So he personally called God his helper. And then the Bible also in different cases, case of Paul and every other person, they had to relate to God with different names. So in the Bible, there are different names attached to God, but we all know God as God. That's who he is.
Okay. I understand the term when you say God, and when you use the example of Gideon now, God is my helper. Okay, I believe that's a description of God. Right? Like I can say, who are you? By nature, your being now, you're a human being. That's your being. That's who you are. What you are now, you are David. Right? So if I'm to ask what God is, by nature, who God is God by nature. Right? But when we say what is God's name, who he is, there's a name God ascribed himself. Would you like to know the name?
Okay, I would like to know the name.
Okay, for instance, we have many titles, right? Like Elohim, Adonai, those are titles, right? That prophets use, but the name God calls himself. Like for instance, during the burning bush, Moses, if you remember Moses, Exodus 3, where he says, I am the Lord your God, the God of your fathers, right? Isaac, Jacob, and so on and so forth. The word Lord, right there, it contains an Hebrew word. I don't know if you know about that, but Hebrew word is like a tetragrammaton, 4 letters, right? YHWH, right? Yehovah, Yehovah. So which is Yahweh. Or some people commonly call Jehovah. Jehovah is the form of that name. So Yahweh is also, right? So God calls himself, I am Yahweh, your God. Right? And that is my covenant name, which shall be remembered throughout generation. That's Exodus 3:15. Right? So God has a name. God has a name. Like for Islam now, they say, do you know the God of Islam?
I think that's Allah. That's Allah, right?
So like Hinduism, they say Krishna. So if I say, do we believe in God? A Buddhist will say yes, a Hindu will say yes, a Muslim will say yes, because you are using the name God. But the question is, what's God? Then you have to call the name. I don't know if you get. So I don't know if you've learned something. Okay, do you have maybe a question?
No, there's not that question. At least I learned that there is a specific name to God now. That's a new one I've learned. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Take care.